Check, check. Chinese check, baby. Chicken check. Chicken sausage. Chick hern. Chickpeas. Check. Check, please. Chicks. Chick-a-doodle-dee. Remember chickadees? Remember that? Remember chickadees? It was a little, like a breakfast place. I don't know if it was chickadees. And you go in there and they had, they give you the menu, and they would handwrite the menus every day. Which I think is probably why they went out of business. I mean, at that point, you're more of a calligraphy shop or something. I mean, I don't know. They say home of the handwritten menu. That was their big ticket. That was their big, get you in the door deal. Home of the handwritten menu. And then they handwrite them, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was a fire or something something happened over there. But anyway, what's going on, man? Not much. Chickadees, that was it. And I go over there and get me a little breakfast. Get me a cut of ham, get me two bird eggs. 2 bird eggs and a cut of ham for $3, I remember. And sometimes they have sweet entrees, it said on there. A little bonus section on the menu, it said sweet entrees, and it'd have you get you a little hot cake or what's that food we won in the war? French toast. Get you a little, savory item. Get you something like that. Chickadees, it was called. And sometimes when I missed school, if I would miss the school bus, they had a man that would take me to school. And I don't remember his name, but he was just kind of a mysterious looking man. And he might have had, I don't know, cancer or something, but he had, his son was named Big Donald. And his son was named Big Donald, even though he was little. And sometimes I would miss the bus. And his son, I think, had maybe even dropped out of school. But I would miss the bus, and the dad would take me to school in his car. And he drove a car that it wasn't a hearse, but it was like, it seemed like a hearse, Like they probably had ghosts in the trunk kind of thing, kind of vehicle. It was just, if you got in a car accident in this car, you were going to die because it was just real long and black. And I think it was a hearse, but they had sawed off the back and made it into a regular car. And that was Big Donald's daddy. And he would take me to school when I would miss school or when I would miss the bus. And sometimes he would come out at first and he'd say, "Did you miss it?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Maybe wait a little while." And I would wait a little longer. And he knew it had already passed. He was just kind of, just getting me calibrated for a life of, I guess, uncomfort or of, uncertainty. I don't know. But he'd come out another time. "Did you miss it?" I don't know. I don't know if I missed it. It's 9 a.m. I've been out here for an hour and 45 minutes. School started at 7:30. I probably missed it. And he'd say, "Well, just, it could show up." So I sit there and wait. It start getting hot. Have my little book bag on. Feel my books heating up. Feel my homework all hot. I didn't do my homework, actually, man. I just feel my books hot. Okay, I'll be honest with you. And then he'd say, "All right, come on, I'll take you." And I think since his son had dropped out of school, since his boy had given up on, knowledge or blanket knowledge, or governmental knowledge, really, education, that they were, that it was his chance to still have that moment with his son. And we would ride in the car, and I would try to, practice it, look at my book, look at my spelling, and he would blow cigarette smoke over at me. He'd be smoking a pack of Dorals over there. And he would get both windows up. I mean, I think he had damn glued the windows shut because he loved all the smoke. He wanted all the smoke, baby. And he'd blow that smoke on me and ask me to spell a word. And I would just try to, my face was burning, my eyes were burning, and I would try to get that word out of me. C. What is it, buddy? What is it? And he'd blow that smoke on me. Like INCON. Spell it, boy. And he'd yell at me, spell it, boy. And he'd even call me his son's name, too, sometime. Spell it, Big Donald. Spell it, Little Donald. And he couldn't remember sometimes if his son was named Big Donald or Little Donald. And he'd blow the smoke on me. INCON. Inconvenience. And he didn't know how to spell shit. So he would just kind of, oh, there you go. There you go. And then he'd let me flick his cigarette. He'd hand it over to me and let me flick it onto the floor. And, but anyway, we'd stop at this place called Chickadee's and go in there. Home in a handwritten menus, and we'd get in there and I'd read him what it said on the menu. And I would read him straight up what it said on the menu. And honestly, man, maybe that man, he might not even been able to read. And maybe this was his way of just kind of connecting with, with an education he never got fully or partially even. Or semi-partially, I don't know, but Chickadee's I remember. And then they, I think one guy, the guy with the best penmanship didn't come in or something. He got in a fight with his wife, and then, and they didn't have a menu. One day we went in there and they didn't have a menu, and nobody knew what to do. The waitress just standing there with her arms in the air, and the cook just fucking gave up, just cracked a couple eggs right into his damn mouth and just walked out. And I think they burned the place down for insurance for insurance money. But anyway, what else, man? Let's get into the episode, brother gang. You know it. We all, baby. We're just tugging that past with us. I've been riding on. And I just meant to. I-N-C. It'll probably still come. Just wait out here. It's almost noon. Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my story. You want grits with that? And on me. Come on. A song, I will sing it just for you. There you go, boy. There you go. And that fade out. Oh, I couldn't get that fade out well right there. But I wanted to. I'll say that I wanted to. Good to be here with you. And it is middle of July, halfway to Christmas. Can you? Hot damn. I mean, if you put your ear up to the beach, you can hear. I mean, you could hear Santa just tightening up a couple toy trains out there, you know. It's halfway to Christmas, man. Good to see you guys. We are here, July 20th, 2020, the year 2020. In the future or in the past, I'm not sure when this will, hit you. And I don't know if you've come from the future or the past to listen to it. I don't know how you got to right now. You may be some people, there may be a time in the future where people are, living in reverse and they just they're backing into a day that you're just getting to. We don't know. We don't know that. I'm at home and I do not want to be. That's how I feel, man. I don't even want, just give me a damn shovel and no knowledge. And I'll try digging to China, Remember that when we were young, they say you could dig to China. Dig you a hole, Your mom get out there, your grandmother get out there, give you a little shovel. Maybe your uncle steal one of those, those cement things that break up the cement, Maybe he steal one of those from work. And he let you and your buddy each hold one handle of it because it was too much, that jackhammer. And y'all just jackham that bitch up. You out there digging and jackhammering. As children thinking, we're going to China. But now, you see some kid digging in China, you take the shovel from him. Say, hey, buddy. No. We do not need another thoroughfare between us and China, brother. We cannot. That's crazy that children now aren't even allowed to dig to China. Remember that? Oh, we'll get there. You come back in the morning to dig more. Somebody's, some man sleeping in the hole. His wife kicked him out. He's doing drugs or something. Or he was, he ran out of drugs and she kicked him out and he peed in the damn hole. And you just keep digging, man. Piss, dirt, and all. Just dig your way through. You don't stop. But yeah, Chickadees, that was the name of that joint. And I guess, I don't know if something happened. Some insurance scandal or something bullshit. And they shut it down. But yeah, I want to go. I just got back. I just got back from from New Hampshire. And now I want to go again. I want to go do something again, So sometimes when I can't travel, I'll travel inside of myself. I'll take a vacation to just a specific time or a specific moment. And I'll try to remember all the things I can about the moment. Sometimes when I think of the past or when I think of something, I forget to think of all the different things of the senses, because that gives my memory more more batter to make a cake out of. I remember one of the first times I ever even performed, I was, a child or something. I think I was a child, or I was just a small adult that was just lying about how old he was. But I was, just a middle-aged child or something. I don't know, probably about 9. And if we were bad, which we were, my mother would make us do a performance, so we could come downstairs and watch Rescue 911 on television. Because that was my show, man. That was my thing. That was my jam. I love to call 911. And some of you guys know that about me, and some of you don't. I'll call them bitches. I'll text them. I texted them from the Poirier-Holloway fight. I said, they got some damn ruffians out here beating the shit out of each other. And they said, where are you? I said, I'm at the UFC, whatever it was. 214, baby. Where are you guys, dude? Gang shit. Bring the fire department. But you can text 911 now. But when I was young, I would call them. I'd call them for anything. I'd call them. If we couldn't pay the bills, I'd call them. Hey, yep. St. Tammany Parish, Police and Fire. How may I help you? Is this an emergency? Yep. We can't pay the water. Mom can't pay it. So she told her boss off and she got fired. So sorry. I'm going to have to keep the line free for actual emergencies. But at least I'll let them know. Sometimes you got to let the city know what you're thinking. You got to at least let them know what you're dealing with, But anyway, I remember, that my mom would make us, she didn't make us, but we would come down and perform. We would put paint or something on our bodies or put a sheet on top of us and write China on it maybe and do, get in a line and put a couple sheet on us and make a dragon. We'd come down and, my brother would beat a little, we'd have him beat what is it called? He would beat like a tambourine with a spoon. Or, we had this man my mom dated used to do fake accidents to get money. And so we had a metal neck brace that he left over one time. And so sometimes my brother would put that on and get thimbles, metal little thimbles from sewers kits. And he would put them on his fingers. And so we'd all come down and he would play kind of Chinese music on his, bum, 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 bum. Just bum, 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 bum. Just, playing that metal neck brace. And the rest of us would just be in a damn sheet. We'd written China on the side of it and cut a couple eye holes out the front and wrote Dragon on the front. And we would do put on a show for Mom. And if she liked the show well enough, then we were allowed to sit there by the television and watch Rescue 911. Or, a couple other programs, Unsolved Mysteries, Rescue 911, America's Most Wanted. I mean, we liked to watch shit that was very fear-based. And we would sit, dude, we were kidding. We would sit literally 2 inches from the television screen. I mean, our television was as big as 2 iPhone 9s. I mean, that bitch was as big as like a double wide iPhone 9. And we would sit there 2 inches from it. And just let the devil just go straight into our eyes. And that was, but that was some of the first times we would perform, that I would perform. I remember as a child was coming down and doing that and performing for Mom so that we could watch Rescue 911. And here I am, 30 years later, still performing for television in a weird way, in kind of a backhanded way, but, still performing to be a part of the show so I could see the show, whatever, I don't know. about that part, but what else, man? But anyway, yeah, sorry, I was telling you, so I would, when I think back to like, if I can't go, then I'll go somewhere in my head, you know, I'll take a, you know, I'll think back to those times, and so other things that I think about from that time, I think about the carpet. Well, you know, well, how did it feel? How did the carpet feel? Because we were barefoot, you know, it was nighttime, we're barefoot inside, you know, and so I think about how it felt to my feet, and then I remember the carpet, you know, the color of it was kind of coffee with milk color in it, and so I think about that. I think about the smell, what the smell would be like. Well, when we went to Mom's room to perform, she had usually just gotten out of the shower, you know, and she wasn't nude anymore. We didn't do anything like that. You had to go down the street for some of that shit. Family nudity kind of shit, but you could smell the shampoo in the room. You could smell a Salon Selects. And Mom had Salon Selects, man, and oh my God. I do not know if you remember Salon Selects. It was about the most high class shampoo you could get. I mean, it had, I don't even know what it was made out of. It just seemed like they'd taken a couple beautiful women and creamed, you know, and just put, you know, cremated them or whatever, and just put them right into the damn bottle. And then they put 2 scoops of frickin' California in there, and maybe half a scoop of hibiscus up in there. You know, and then they would trim an angel's wings right into that bitch, heat it up to about 240, and then let it simmer, and then bottle it. And your mom had it. Mom got Salon Selects. We would wash our hair with a soap. You know, we would wash our hair with a soap, or sometimes we would put a soap bar in a sock, and you would rub that on your head so as not to lose all the soap. That way you weren't, you know, the soap would stay in that sock. You weren't because otherwise you give us a bar of soap, somebody, you know, we'd use it all in one bathing. We'd bathe for 2.5 hours. Somebody, you know, hide it in their ass or something. Just, you know, children. Being children, but and so what Mom did, Mom put it in a sock, and we would just scrub it on her head. So the soap still came out of it, but you just weren't wearing that bar down. And I remember sometimes I'd go over to a rich kid's house, and they would have a little bit of Irish Spring over there. And shout out to Ireland, man. And shout out to Ireland and the UK and all of our good people over there. You know, shout out to Jack Shore, who won his MMA fight, man. Young legend right there. And hell, I hope they open the borders soon, man, because I think half of us want to come back to England, brother. I'll tell you that. Put me on a boat, baby. I'm joking, man. I'm happy to be here, but some days there's some, you know, I live in California. It's just a little bit more, I don't know, too many know-it-alls out here. But anyway, Mom had the Salon Selects. That's what I'm telling you. Mom had that Salon Selects. And if you, sometime I would say, oh, Mom, I'm out of shampoo. I'd run into her room, and I'd reach my hand in the shower. Mom would be in her shower. And I would, if I was lucky, boy, she'd put a little Salon Selects in there. And the problem was my body heat would start to kind of make it thinner. You know, your body heat, like you can only hide Jell-O in your hand for about 40 minutes before you just got a little handful of something. And you have to tell people, hey, this used to be Jell-O. They don't believe you. And that's what it was like. So I'd have to run all the way back upstairs, get back in the shower, and put it into my hair before it all kind of dissipated or snuck out the little cracks in my fingers. But damn, I love that, man. You know, and I love when Mama give me some of that Salon Selects, and I remember that, boy. And sometimes I wash my hair with it, and sometimes, honestly, bro, I'd wash my damn body with it. And sometimes, honestly, double honestly, I'd freaking lick a little bit of it right out of my damn hand, bruh. God damn. Forgive me, but God. Just tasting that damn hibiscus, brother. We didn't have hibiscus by us. So to just get a damn hit of it out of that bottle. But I remember that was another thing I remember when I'd go into Mom's room. You could smell that because she had just showered recently, you know. And so you could smell it in the air. But anyway, little things like that just bring me, you know, when I think of when somebody's like, hey, do you remember? I try to think of, okay, well, what was something that I felt at the time? Okay, I felt the carpet. I remember that. I remember, you know, how my body felt when I was young. I wasn't aware of it. Now I'm so aware of my body. I got to move and I got to think about what I'm doing, and, you know, I got to reach for something. It's all. But when I was young, everything was it went from an idea or a thought in my head to an action. There was no delay. There was no age in the gumming up the works, you know. There was no Doral smoke between my brain and my activity. You know, it was just immediate, just chickadees on the table, baby. But yeah, so that's what I try to think of sometimes when I'm thinking about stories, and I think of, okay, what did I see? What did I smell? You know, what did I feel? What was the taste of something? Was there anything? You know, was there? You know, just I try and go through my senses and that helps me add some memory. Sometimes I think all of our everything we've ever done is inside of us. Sometimes I think that, but you have to there needs to be a key to unlock it, like a person will talk to you or remind you of something or, you know, different stuff like that. Today's episode is brought to you by Policy Genius. I've got to let you know that there's never a bad time to save money. And that really is true. And it's really never more true than it is right now. You know, we don't know the future. You know, even if you go to a soothsayer or, you know, a crystal ball person and you say, hey, two hands in the air. They don't know. So finding smart ways to put some cash back in your pocket can make a big difference. One way to do that is to simply save on the things you already pay for. That's easy. Like home insurance. If you own a home, reshopping your home insurance rates with Policy Genius could save you a good chunk of change. You need that. And the best part is you barely need to lift a finger to do it. Just head to policygenius.com and answer a few quick questions about yourself and your property. Then Policy Genius will compare your policy against options from top insurers to make sure you're getting the right home insurance coverage at the best possible price. If Policy Genius finds you a better rate than what you're currently paying, they'll do all the work to get you switched. Own a car? Policy Genius will compare your home and auto policies across different insurers, and even mix and match. They're looking to find you savings. They've saved their customers an average of $1,200 per year doing exactly that, finding new home and auto policies across different insurers. So if you'd like to put a little cash back in your pocket right now, see how much you can save by reshopping your home insurance rates at policygenius.com. Bathroom. All right, let's take a call here from Larry the driver. Onward.
I'm driving along here.
And Larry drives, hell, I don't know where he drives, but he's left a lot of voicemails about, you know, vehicle operation and that sort of thing. So let's see what he's doing. Go on, brother.
Into my place of employment, and I had a thought. And I said, who better to call from Schenectady to share this thought with than the Theo Von bunch. So, I just saw a guy, neighbor, he's walking his dog. His dog's a German Shepherd, very narrow face. You know, they have features. Then I looked at the guy and I'm like, wow, he's starting to look just like that German Shepherd in the face. Narrow, kind of, they were going up a hill, head pointed forward, face forward, everything going up the hill. And then I thought, yeah, people, I guess maybe creatures do that. We start to turn into the things, or start to look like the things we look at, or the beings we look at.
Amen, brother. Thank you, Larry, for that, man. You're right. I think you're definitely right about. I mean, I don't know if you're right or not, but you saw what you saw. You know, it's not like you're reporting a damn UFO. You're reporting obviously a lean, guy who's Italian or maybe Judeo-Italian going uphill with a German Shepherd. You saw what you saw. But yeah, I think we start to reflect what we focus on, man. It could be a dog. It could be a, if you listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine all day and watch all of his videos, which are awesome. Okay, I'll say that. But if you do it all day, every day, next thing you know, you're going to get a couple Skittles embedded into your cheek, You're going to braid your hair. You're going to freaking be out of work. You're going to be, you're going to be hiding in a townhouse out there in, somewhere. Probably, Toledo or Boise. But it's like, yeah, you're going to become whatever you focus on. But people do that with animals for sure. You'll see a lady with a Shih Tzu named Sharon. And then people start saying, oh, that's Sharon, Shih Tzu Sharon. And both of them, they got, matching little side ponies. And, they're both eating out of a bowl or something by the back door of her house. It's just bizarre stuff. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of Megan. You'll see a lady named Megan with a Maltese. And they'll be like, oh, that's Maltese Megan. And you throw a Frisbee and Megan runs and, tries to catch that bitch and gets hit by a Ford Fiat, bruh. And you like, But yeah, people start to become what the animals they have. You see it with riffraff even. Riffraff, who's that rare element. He's the Bermuda Triangle of humans. And he's got a couple huskies, and he starts to, he starts to mimic them and sound like them and move like them. You'll see him on all fours pissing on a hydrant over there down there near Deer Park, Florida. But I'm just saying, yeah, whatever we spend time with, you see that a lot, especially the dog-human element, that combo package. Somebody gets a, your buddy Bernard gets a damn Burmese python. And next thing you know, Bernard, you'll catch him one afternoon laying on the street, with no shirt on, putting his stomach on the concrete to stay warm. So there's a lot of that type of shit, man. But gang, Larry, thanks for recognizing that, and thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it, and just take care of yourself, brother. All right, you be good, man. Onward. All right, let's take another call right here. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, this is Sam in Nashville, Tennessee here.
What's up, Sam, or Samuel? And Sam is often a short name for Samuel, or Yosemite Sam, if you're a drawing, Onward.
I wanted to ask you about performing in 2020. I play drums for a living here in Nashville, or I did. The city got hit by a tornado back in March.
Okay, you could have played in our Chinese Dragon Retribution performance that we did for Mom. Onward. Sorry, I wasn't even listening right there because I started thinking about that. And anyway, I'll back up.
The city got hit by a tornado back in March, which took out some of the venues. And then shortly after that, the Corva took over, which, as you know, canceled all the tours and a lot of the gigs in town, too. A bunch of us musicians here are talking about organizing a protest to open up some of these venues so we can get back to doing what made Nashville famous and make some music, which we're currently not allowed to do. I know there's a lot of folks out there that don't want us to do that, And I don't want anybody to get sick. But I guess I'd say stay home if you're worried about it. Not trying to be insensitive, but really itching to go back to work, make some music, and pay some of these bills. Wanted to hear your input since you're a performer and you're feeling these struggles too. I know that the virus is real and all that. It's just, you know, especially for people up and coming, it's you know, we got bills. So.
Yeah, brother. I feel that, man. Thank you for the call. And yeah, that's a lot. Y'all got a lot on the table, especially if you're up and coming. If you're trying to, you were building momentum, and then all this momentum, you know, just really slowed to a grind. You know, one thing I'll think about that is at least everybody's momentum slowed to a grind. So it's even, I think a lot of times it feels like it's just us, you know, or just you, or just your band, and I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just saying sometimes it lands on us that way. But, you know, it's interesting that it's everyone, because we're not used. That's the element that we're not used to, is that everyone had to stop. But yeah, I feel you sometimes. I feel you. You know, my mom said, look, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. You know, she's ready to get out there. She'll fist fight the devil. You know, she wants to live what life she has remaining. A lot of people do. Large venues are tough because a lot of them, they don't want to open up because it wouldn't even, the cost to rent the space and everything, it's not even cost effective to have a show at it if you have to have people spaced out so far. Yeah, I feel you. Could you just have a show where it's like, hey, if you want to come, this is just listen at your own risk? Why can't that be a thing? You know, just listen at your own risk. That's it. You know, just like at the pool, they say, oh, wait, you know, if you have a bologna or something, you know, you have a little bologna sandwich, you have maybe, you know, half a dozen Tootsie Rolls or something and a Bark soda, and they say, don't swim. But, you know, Daniel, bro, he don't give a damn, dude. Daniel fill his mouth with freaking, you know, he'll put 3 beef franks in his mouth and jump straight in the deep end, dude. He'll plan his funeral in the morning and then die in the afternoon, bro. You know that's how he is. He's risky like that. He'll eat and swim at the same time and he's never taken a lesson. He don't care. That's who he is. So they should have an option, I feel like, for people that want to be Daniel. And then I think then it's like we get to see, we'll see what happens. But I'd rather die over there at a damn Billie Eilish show than I would just hunkered down watching 48, the first 48 again. It's like, how do you want to die? You want to die at the Louisiana Children's performance of the Chinese Dragon? Or do you want to die sitting at home watching, Clarissa Explains It All or something reruns? So yeah, I'm ready. I was just looking yesterday, talking to the agents about getting a tent and maybe doing shows like that. Maybe maybe there'll just be smaller shows and there'll be more traveling type of shows coming up, and it'll all take on a new way that we embrace it. I don't know. I don't know, man. I wish I had some solace for you, but I feel you. I'm just itching to be... The biggest thing I'm itching to not forget what it was like before this. Because the more and more we live this, that's what starts to happen. You forget how, not comfortable, but just you forget what was going on before. And you kind of become okay with this now. And people say, well, that's, there's risk to that. That's, people could die. But then here's the thing. Those people are choosing to go die. I think that's the core of a lot of it too. Some people have a different view of life. And I'm sure this differs if you have children or if you don't, but some people, they say, they had that mayor in Las Vegas and she's like, well, let's open up and see. I thought that was pretty ballsy of her. And of course, you're going to have people say, what are you talking? But there's some people think when they die, there's another option. It's not all about just this moment. There's a deeper coil that we're attached to. And so there's another existence. There's reincarnation. There's, maybe you come back as a dragon with China written on the side of you. There's something, maybe you come back as a damn, as a French option over there at Chickadees, bro. But some people believe that, so they live life differently. Life's different when you have this idea in your head that there's other dimensions, there's other levels you go on, you look at Super Mario differently. And shout out to my boy Bacon Arts, who made this right here. And this is Super Mario looking like a bacon, but then there's some people who, this is it. And so they're so caught, they don't have that extra, those next levels that they have in their psyche. And so they think it's all right here, right now. This is it. But so then, of course, those types of people are going to have different views on what's going on and how we react to it in nature. And then there's Brennan Schaub, who almost single-handedly took out the entire podcast universe. So, there's just different types of folks. Just joking, man. But not joking. You get it. Let's take another call, man. Here we go.
Theo Vaughn. This is Lauren from Boston, and I am calling because I love and like you.
All right, Lauren. Appreciate the good words. Thank you for calling. Onward.
I saw you at the Wilbur Theater last March in Boston. My friend Kevin took me for my birthday. We had super good seats right up front. You were so funny. You even at the beginning seemed a little bit nervous. And then you crushed it. Your openers were awesome. Neither of us had ever heard of them, and they were awesome to be introduced to. But I'm calling because I'm from New Hampshire originally, and
shout out Hamp. Shout out in Hamp, baby. Live free or die, son. You know that. That's their motto. And maybe that would be a good place to have those types of concerts, brother, who called in a minute ago. Out there in New Hampshire where, they got Dunkin' Donuts, they got a cemetery right there. You go to the show, you hit the urgent care after, and then boom, you're in a cemetery if it doesn't work out. Otherwise, you're living free. Gang, man, onward.
That rural outskirt, where, before Trump's America was a thing, it was Trump's America. Confederate flags up north, trucks with lift kits. People say yes, spelled Y-U-T.
Yep.
And a lot of those folks, became Trump voters. And I'm down here in Boston. I went to college here and I stayed here. And it's hard to explain to people the nuance. I'm a feminist. I'm progressive in many ways. And I still have love and respect for the people I grew up with. And I feel like a lot of that is being washed away on both sides. And there are little places where it still lives, and you help remind people of that you can be many different kinds of a person and love many different kinds of people. And I just appreciate it.
Well, man, this audio is jacky today. Thank you for the call, young lady. And I think it's nice that your boy Kevin took you out there to see the show. And that's a real, when you get out there to see the show, that's really, man, it's fun. I feel like, I've said before, a lot of times I want to be I want to be sitting in the audience. I don't want to be up there on the stage. I want to be out in the audience and be able to enjoy the show, and I do enjoy it, but it's just a different type of thing. There's a lot of people in America that are going to vote for Donald Trump. There's a lot of people that like him. Certainly in the places that I grew up. And there's people that are in my family that love him. There's people that don't. There's people that don't love him, but that will vote for him. There's people that will vote for Biden if he runs. There's all types. But I do think it is interesting how, I'll never turn my back on any of those types of people. I don't care. I don't think anyone should tell you who to vote for. I really, really don't. I think that's your thing. And it gets to me how I see how people where I'm from I see how people that love Donald Trump love him. I see how they support him. And I don't know. I think there's some people that love him, but I think there's some people that just vote for him. But I see why. I certainly see why when it comes to being poor and white. Because everybody else looks at you. The media makes fun of you all the time. The only people you can make fun of still are poor white people. On any television shows, it seems like. If you're from a poor white place, they immediately say you're racist. They say you're dumb. They look over us. And yeah, but if you're poor in any other color, or if you're impoverished from an impoverished place and you're black or Latino or Muslim or something, then had such a tough time. You had a tough upbringing. And I'm not saying you didn't, but I'm just saying you have to be. It's got to be a fair thing. I don't know. But yeah, I don't care who you vote for. I hope you vote for somebody that you like. I really do. And I don't care what side of the track that they're on. I really don't. I've voted for candidates on both sides, which I don't even know if you can legally do that. But anyway, I didn't mean to just kind of ramble on a lot of that stuff, but yeah, it hurts me. It hurts me a lot of times when I hear people say certain things, because they just assume. They assume that people where I'm from are racist. Man, you know how many times we spent building Habitat for Humanity houses, going to help with those for poor black families in our area, and we didn't have a house. I was on the same bus as those kids. But what do you just, you can't harbor on the stuff. You just try and do your best. And, but I've seen a lot of great stuff from a lot of the areas that other people these days, and a lot of other people, it's just the media, it seems like definitely seems to look down on. Except for when they want to sell you something, boy. They'll take your money. So that's what people should start to do, is just be careful where they put their money, Because perspective is, some people, their perspective is just one thing. So it's like, you can't get angry at a fish for being in water, man. You can't, you can. But is it really that justifiable if all the fish knows is water? And you over here telling him about air? He don't know about air. You know, and I'm pretty, you know, fortunate. I've been able to, you know, I've been fortunate to, you know, kind of just spend time right on the beach, you know, in the air and in the water, and both are awesome, man. Gang, bro. But anyway, I didn't mean to rattle off. That's a lot of political shit, man. I shouldn't, you know, sometimes I don't like talking about a lot of that kind of stuff. But we got too much stuff dividing us these days. And they win. When they divide us, they win. You know that. Gang, bro. Let's take another call that came in right here. Gang, bro.
Hey, what up, Theo? I'm calling from Vegas. Just been having this shit on my mind, and I don't know what to do, dog. I'm about to have a baby and shit, and
Oh, congratulations, brother. That's awesome, man. If you get a baby, dude, then, you know, you get a real gift, you know, to think that somebody is entrusting you with a life. That's pretty amazing. You know, that's crazy that the other side of existence is straight up mailing you a life out of your girl's body, dog. That's crazy, bro. That's the original FedEx right there, son. Gang.
I went to my girl's, like, Facebook and all that shit. Come to find out, like, she's like a low-key little hoe before I got with her. And she was, like, fucking some fucking fool I don't even know, like, a month before she met me and shit. And, like, I've been on her, like, Facebook, and I see, like, all the fucking motherfuckers that she used to have, like, liking her pictures and all that shit. She don't have them on there no more. But, I mean, I had to check her, like, fucking, at least fucking 3 times about that shit. And, like, I'd be finding shit, like, on her conversations with, like, her fucking family and all that. And she's over here talking about how she used to fucking have motherfuckers up in her fucking apartment. And
Dang, bro. Appreciate the call. You know that. Man, I'm sorry that, you know, I can certainly, you know, I've had a lot of experiences with jealousy, you know, and I'm not accusing you of being jealous, but, you know, you got a good opportunity right now. You know, all the things you said she used to do before y'all were together. She had a life before you guys, you know that, man. So it's, you know, it's really, you know, you gotta G up, bro. Maybe have a Red Bull or something and just, I think you gotta find some ways to forgive her, man. I think you have to, bro, because you can't be, you gonna drag all this stuff along forever? You know, I'm sorry to hear that, but you can't. What was your past like? You know, I used to be real angry at my girl, and then I realized, damn, my past was sketchy, bro. Hell, my current is sketchy. I'm sketchy now. So, you know, when I've had a girlfriend, and it's like, damn, you know, I used to get angry, bro. I used to get angry at my girlfriends. Dude, my first girlfriend, one time I got so angry because she had dated this guy before me, and I, like, held that shit against her. You know, I made her feel bad and stuff. Man, she couldn't do nothing about that, man. That was before I even knew her. So, you know, I think you just got to find some ways. You got a baby coming. Like, there's, you know, God has given you this gift between you and this girl. So it's obvious that there's some real power there between you guys. And I know it's going to be hard, man, but I think you just got to forgive her and you have to let it go. You know, I maybe even find somebody to talk to about it. I think that could help, man. I really, really do. You know, and I'm sorry to just kind of sound like I'm telling you what to do, but I just want to see you enjoy this experience. I don't want to see you look back and, you know, because it sounds like you're just angry. And I don't even know if you're really angry at her, if you just angry, you know, and I don't know. The last thing we need in this world is some kid coming into it and And people fighting over the past. We got enough fighting over the past going on in the world. And so I think if you can do it, man, you're gonna have to let some of that stuff go. And be a cool dad and start a new adventure with her. I know it's really hard. But you can just be supportive of her and just be a man so she doesn't have to be with these fools anymore. You're lucky you caught her from these fools. And a lot of Latinos, man, they like to fight in a car wash. I remember. I went to school over there in Tucson, and kids always fist fighting over there in a car wash. And then somebody get the suds gun and fucking go to town on some little dude, Little Hector getting, Oh, you like the limpio, Hector? You like the limpio, papa? So it's, it's just, you can do it, bro. But, I would find somebody that you could talk to that can really help you about it. And maybe even go into a 12 steps for anger, anonymous or something. And I'm not trying to call you out. I'm not trying to say you're a bad guy or anything like that. I'm really not. We're just people, bro. And it's not easy being people. But that baby, man, I just want you to have fun with that baby, And you got a great chance. She didn't have a baby with any of those fools, bro. You the one. So go get it done, Daddy. You can do it. I really think you can do it. All right, let's take one more call here. Actually, this is a good place to let you know right now about BetterHelp. That this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 24 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's counselor network, which may not be locally available in many areas. It's interesting. We'll get a gym membership, but we won't get a membership to take care of ourselves emotionally. And I think BetterHelp offers you that. You get timely, thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches. They make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. I had a counselor on there, and we would talk on the phone, and sometimes we would Skype. And even if I needed someone in an emergency situation, BetterHelp offered that. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit betterhelp.com/Theo. That's BetterHelp. And join the over 500,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. That's right. Special offer for this past weekend listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/THEO. What else do we have, man? Should we get into one more call? Here we go. Let's take this hitter, gang.
Hey Theo, this is Mike from Illinois. Got a question I want to run by you. Just moved to a new town and I've got a little bit of money saved up and I work full time and I'm thinking about starting up a side business. And for years I've been looking into it. I think I'm ready to finally go. I think I'll start my own ice cream truck business. I got really excited and started looking into it. Right away, all my friends are kind of poo-pooing the idea and.
They called haters, baby. They called haters, Michael. More?
Saying it's creepy and that it's, there's a lot of pedophilia ideology surrounding the whole thing, which I never thought about.
Well, you definitely should have thought about that, man. We had a guy by us, they had a company called Perry's Putt Putt. And they sold mini golf to children. And hell, I don't even know if they sold it to us. I think if you just showed up and had shorts on, the man would let you play it. And the man, I think this man, Mr. Perry, he would get out there and every now and then he would spin the boys around in a circle. And he would grab you by your feet and he would spin you around. And everybody would laugh and stuff, and half the time you'd vomit or, spit up a damn now and later or whatever you'd had for lunch. But yeah, it was a real shithole establishment. But But you got to think about you can't, I wouldn't go alone out there. You know, if you go in wealthier neighborhoods, it's going to be different. You're going to the kid is going to come to the thing with the parent or with a babysitter. But dog, you roll down East McGee Street over there in Covington, Louisiana, son. You're going to have you're going to have a couple 6-year-olds. Some kid trade you a video game. Some kid trade you a freaking, maybe a picture frame with his grandmother in it. People do more trade and barter for that Astro Pop, for that little Mickey Mouse with the gumball nose. Or give you that for that Bananarama, slick, thing. That banana fudge sickle. So, I say do it, man. But I would get a different type of music. I would do country music or get crunk with it, Carl's Country Cream Van. That's what I'd call it. Carl's Country Cream Van. And every now and then you pull over and get out and do a dance. Do something. Come with a real ass hustle. That way, at least if a kid gets diddled out or something, or you even flirting with a kid, at least you brought some entertainment to the village first. Otherwise, you get these assholes rolling through the neighborhood. All they want to do is touch kids and make cream money, and they're not doing nothing. But yeah, man, I think it sounds pretty cool, bro. I think, hey, I'd get me one of them Astro Pops. I don't even know if you could get. I love Astro Pops, so I'd give you 75 cents for it, or let you feel my elbows, bro. That shit, boy. Shout out Perry. Shout out Perry's Putt Putt. Real rot gut establishment over there. All right, I'll take one more call here. Let's get it, gang.
What's up, Bonds with the Bronze Daddy? This is Denzel Salkington, a.k.a. Barmelo's Anthony. I'm calling from Memphis, Afghanistan, brother.
Oh, Lord, baby. We got a fella. He's calling from Memphis, Afghanistan. That's Memphis, baby. It's home of the first 48, bro. If you like a little bit of urban murder, bro, crack into that gang, bro. Onward.
I just had 3 questions for you. The first one was, have you ever been to Memphis for a show or for anything like that?
Yes, sir. And I've been to Memphis, man. I've been down there on Beale Street where they got the people drinking by the goats. I've been over there, I've been over there and I've been over to Sun Studios. I've driven over off to Tupelo and seen where Elvis was lived as a baby. I've been over there in Memphis, over to the Peabody Hotel, where the ducks roll through there. I've been over there, baby. And I love it, man. Gang, I love Tennessee. Onward.
Like that. If not, you should come. We'll definitely keep you safe.
I love how that's your new motto in Memphis, dude. We'll keep you safe, bro. That's it. Dude, if you've ever seen the first 48, bro, that's Memphis's new motto. We'll keep you safe, bro. Onward, man. I appreciate it.
2, you are a very beautiful man. And that isn't gay because I like women sexually, but I just had to let you know that you are a very beautiful man.
Thank you, brother, and I appreciate that. And I feel a little bit more beautiful than I used to when I was young. Which is interesting because I was definitely handsomer when I was young because I had more blood in my body and more, tighter cells and everything. And I feel you, man. There's nothing gay about that. There's nothing real gay about it. If you think another man is, it's definitely kind of late night, cocaine vibes, kind of, if you say that, that's a beautiful man, but it's onward.
I know part of it has to do with that mullet, but even without the mullet, you're still very beautiful.
It's a haircut. It's a hockey haircut, really, bro. I don't know if you ever watched hockey or been to Europe, which is another country, but they have more unique hair there, And shout out Hanzo Nation, bro. Gang, onward.
And I just had to let you know that. I appreciate you, Theo Vaughn.
Dude, you said 3 questions, dog. That was 1 question, and you told me I'm beautiful, bro. That's flirting. So to be real honest, that's flirting, man. You know, but hey, whatever, man. Look, I'll say this, dude. What about this, bro? And no homo at all, you know, if you feel me, bro, no homo. But if you had to take a man out on a date, this is for anybody out there. And this for straight men only. If you had to take a man on a date, on a first date, you had to take a man. Say you go over there. You go over to to the side of the tracks where men love men. And you know what I'm talking about. Homosexuals. Say you do it. Right? And it's great if you do, if you want that. If you want that in your life, do it. But if you're a straight man, what kind of date would you take a man on if you were going to take a man out? I'd love to hear some of those calls. 985-664-9503. We'll get into some of those next week. If you were really to be, being wild with if you were going to take a man out, but you're not gay, but you were going to take a man out. And I think it's really straight of us to even talk about this and, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. So, yeah, so if you got that, man, hit the hotline, 985-664-9503. Yeah, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you guys for the calls. A lot of great calls. I want to hope that everybody's staying safe out there. I want to apologize if I said anything that's just kind of too political or anything like that. I know people get enough of that in the world. But I can't help where God put me into the world at. I feel like, I feel like I have to believe that we're all headed into a best direction, and I believe that. I really do. 'Cause I don't think that, I just don't think that this whole adventure of being human is supposed to turn out bad. Sometimes I want to. It's fun to think of anarchy and, it'd be fun to play Robin Hood and get on your roof and, shoot people down and stuff and that kind of shit. But, I think that we're all headed overall, into best practices, so. But anyway, man, I love you, and you guys be good to yourselves, man. You deserve it, and thanks for the calls, and we'll get out to the rest of them next time, and gang. Celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die. Celebrate dark days, celebrate all your pain. All of the demons exercised. Let's have some fun while we all die. Also, I wanted to thank all of our Patreon supporters. We just put a new video up on there too, just so you can check it out. And, I know we've pared down our Patreon and made it very limited of what we're offering there. It's just basically a very low level support. Of $2, but still there's a lot of people that choose to make that support, and I just want to say thank you very much. You guys be good to yourself, gang.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jonathan Kite, and welcome to Kite Club, a podcast where I'll be sharing thoughts on things like current events, stand-up stories, and 7 ways to pleasure your partner. The answer may shock you. Sometimes I'll interview my friends. Sometimes I won't. And as always, I'll be joined by the voices in my head.
You have 3 new voice messages.
A lot of people are talking about Kite Club. I've been talking about Kite Club for so long, longer than anybody else. So great.
Hey, sweetheart, here's Theo. Anyone who doesn't listen to Kite Club is a dodgy bloody wanker. Do you know what I mean?
Hi, I'll take a quarter pounder with cheese and a McFlurry.
Sorry, sir, but our ice cream machine is broken.
Oh, no!
I think Tom Hanks just butt dialed me. Anyway, first rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Second rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Third rule, like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts or watch us on YouTube, yeah? And yes, don't worry, my Brad Pitt impression will get better.
This past weekend. All right, check. Got me? There we go. Happy Monday.
Celebrate living. Celebrate
misery.
You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die.
All right, it's Monday, September 25th of the year 2017. And some people want to say that it's not autumn. Okay, but it's autumn. It's fall. You know, this is winter's little mixed baby. You know, this is winter's little mixed baby. And this thing is nibbling at our nipples. I went outside yesterday and I could feel Mother Nature being naughty. I could feel her licking at the ends of my limbs, at my elbows and my lips. I could feel that naughty little biatch tickling my whiskers. You know what I'm talking about? And that is autumn coming. That is Mother Nature showing off her fanciness. You know, she's hanging all her clothes out to dry. You know, the party's over, the skinny dipping and the swimming and the drinking lemonade and the summertime activities are over. And Mother Nature's about to shake them leaves off. And you could even hear birds being like, hey, motherfucker, it's about to get cold. And you see little birds that could be, that might not even make it through the winter. You see them trying to couple up with bigger birds that are going to be able to take care of them. You know, you'll see a sparrow trying to fuck a goose. Or you will see even a hummingbird, you know, trying to, you know, get in a little bit of, trying to get into some doggy style with a raven. You will see things like that because some of these smaller animals know that winter's coming. And that's all that's going on. Thank you guys for joining me. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited about this show today. I had a sidekick on last week, right? A lot of you listeners weren't happy about it. I understand. And he'll be back. He's going to pop back in later on today. We're going to try it in a little bit of a new facet. He's not here now. So that's going to be good. We're going to get into some other stuff. Oh, I got to tell you what happened to me. I got hair rejuvenation surgery. Hair rejuvenation surgery in my head with my own hair. And what it is they take part of your hair out of the back of your head. And look, I got enough hair for everybody. If you got a bald child out there or something, you know, I could make wigs for half of a St. Jude's commercial. I got enough hair coming off the back. And so a buddy of mine introduced me to this dude a while back, this doctor out here. And next thing you know, I'm in there talking to him and he's like, look, you should get the surgery. You should get the procedure. And I love surgery. I've always loved surgery since I was young. When I was young, I had a very small wiener, basically a wiener hole, the hole in your wiener, urethra or urethra. It's one of them. One of them's also a singer. I don't know who it is. One of them's I think a African American mezzo sopranist. But the urethra, my hole basically on my wiener was too small. So when I would pee, I was peeing. I mean, I could pee I could pee almost maybe 45 feet. It was dumbfounding the distance that I could urinate. And so when I urinated, I would piss big on apple juice too. If I had apple juice, dude, I was basically a water gun. You know, I remember my brother I'd drink a bunch of apple juice and my brother would carry me around and I would basically just piss at my sisters. You know, and because I was just like a weapon. But it became a strain on my body. It became like painful. And so they had to take me into the surgery area and they had to cut, you know, recavernate my penis hole. And so, and I don't know what the exact procedure is on that. I would look it up, but I don't want to get into my computer. I want to stay in my brain. So that's what I would do, man. I got that done when I was young. And then I swallowed all them quarters. They had to get the quarters out of me. I had a spine surgery a while back, may or may not have needed, you know, but something about surgery and something about procedures, I think it's just the care or something when you're in there. You know, when you wake up and suddenly there's people around.